Taylor. Thanks so much for coming into supervision today. Before we started, I just wanted to kind of touch base with you and see where you wanted to take supervision today, and maybe if you had any particular questions that you had for this supervision.
Okay, so basically, this has been just ongoing. I've noticed myself when a kid is talking to me. I work in a school that's in a kind of low SES type area.
Yeah.
So I understand that that's a contributing factor to what's going on. But when the kids tell me about what's going on at their house, I do tend to judge the way that their parents might be parenting them or lack of parenting, and kind of like gearing myself towards like wanting to make a CPS call, even though it might not necessarily be a CPS issue.
Okay.
Kind of just because I'm concerned about the well-being of the kid. And so basically my supervision question would be, how do I remain objective? I think that's the word, when working with these kids and not necessarily putting my judgments of how their parents are doing their jobs as a parent into the counseling session, because I don't want the kids to think that I'm out to get their parents, because they're very loyal to them.
Right.
So no matter how dysfunctional it is, they're loyal to them. So that's kind of my question. It's kind of elaborate, but
okay. So just to kind of summarize, it sounds like you're kind of having more personal reactions to what they're telling you about their home life, and you're not exactly wanting these reactions to come out in the sessions.
Yeah, and I feel like it might maybe like very like subliminal, like it's just little hints of it are kind of trickling into my goals with the kids in that session, and I'm not noticing it, I guess.
Okay, could you give me maybe a couple examples of those, like trickling times?
Yeah, so okay, so for example, I have two brothers that I work with, and their dad is a single parent, and he's raising them, but they live in their friend's house, and they sleep in a living room. Okay, so right when they told me I sleep in a living room, they didn't have a reaction, but I had a reaction.
Okay.
Not visibly, you couldn't see it, but it made me think that is not suitable for a kid. But that is if they have a place to sleep, if they're feeding them consistently, if they keep maintaining their hygiene, all types of things. But automatically I was thinking, well, I don't think that a kid living in a living room is fair.
Okay, so just kind of a more personal reaction.
Yeah, and the dad can't be doing everything that he can. Otherwise, they wouldn't be living in a family room.
Okay. Well, I think I have a model that might help you with this.
Okay.
Kind of, it sounds like it's more on a personal level. Maybe we can explore where those feelings are coming from.
Yeah.
But the model is called an integrative developmental model.
Okay.
And it's based on 3 levels of development. And basically, each corresponding level has me in a role as either a teacher, a counselor, or a consultant.
Okay.
And so basically in each of these levels, it contains 3 components: your motivation, your self-autonomy, and also your self-awareness of others and yourself in the session.
Okay.
So the first level is more of a teacher level. It's kind of where you started out at school, which would be, what, a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
And it's kind of just more your entry level. You're just learning the new skills and the different things that it takes to be a counselor, stuff like that. The second level is kind of where you're at right now. You're doing your internship. You're on your own counseling students, like you said, but you're also in need of some direction and some help.
Yeah.
And are having some personal reactions, which is where we can focus on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that would be good.
And then the third level, which is more further on down in your career, when you have supervision with someone, it's more of a consulting, and you're kind of just helping each other with new ideas.
Oh, so kind of like collaborating with each other, like kind of like if I worked with another school.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So where we're at right now with you, it would be more of the level 2.
Okay, that makes sense, because that's what it sounded like.
Okay, so I guess what I want to focus on, since you said it's more personal, do you have any maybe thoughts about where these personal feelings are coming from?
I do have a couple of thoughts about it, because I guess a lot of it is, a lot of my belief system about family and stuff probably came from where I came from. And I had a good upbringing, and I felt that my parents really did everything that they could. And I didn't have to sleep in a living room.
Okay.
but I didn't have a single parent. So it's like, that's why I'm at this struggle where I know not to judge them, and I know that that's not right, because if the parent really is doing something and I'm remaining mindful of their well-being and as long as they're okay, then that's what I need to work on. Like, I just need to work on whatever is going to be most helpful for them at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it might come from just like my idea of family and my idea of parenting and what I believe hard work is, maybe.
Okay.
And just, I guess, the cycle of the low SES and everything. I don't know.
Okay, well, I think that's really good insight. It's hard to admit that sometimes about where we kind of feel personally about things, because obviously in school we're taught we can't let our personal reactions get to us in our counseling sessions. But I think that's really good insight, so I appreciate you sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my next question for you would be, do you foresee this, maybe if it does keep happening? It sounds like you're pretty well aware of it's happening, and you are trying to stop it, but I know it's hard sometimes to kind of stop that process before it gets started.
Yeah.
Do you foresee this maybe potentially causing harm in the students' relationships that you've built so far?
My relationships with them, or their relationships in general?
Your relationship with them in the counselor role.
I think that it possibly could, because, like I said, they're loyal to they don't know any better.
Yeah.
This is what they know, and this is okay for them right now. As long as they're getting a shower, food, and have a roof over their head, they're good. And so I think that it could potentially be harmful, because since they're obviously going to be more loyal to their father or their parent and what they've done for them in their life, it's going to trump whatever relationship I made with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it could potentially be an issue, which is why I wanted to work on it, because I just don't want all the hard work that I've made and the progress that I've made with them affect my counseling with them, and I affect my opinion and all that stuff. So I'm just like in a tough spot, because I know it's wrong, but it's something that I want to improve on, and I'm just trying to figure out how.
Yeah, it sounds like you do have some good insight, like I said before, and I know it is a tough spot. That's a hard spot to be in. But I think even just kind of bringing it up in supervision today, that's one step of kind of improving on it. And just kind of touching base with your own personal reactions and why you're really feeling like that, and going back to your childhood and seeing how hard your parents worked versus maybe their dad's doing the best that he could, like you said, but we don't know.
And maybe he doesn't have even a high school diploma or something, so it's like I understand. Yeah. So he's like doing the best he can with what he has. Yeah. So I guess, that's why I'm glad that I'm catching it now, like while I'm still a student, so I can like be more aware of it when I'm actually have my own job.
I think that's a really good point that you make, and I think that it's a good point that you talked about all the hard work that you're putting in with these students and how you're helping them improve school life, maybe even just a better relationship with their dad that you don't even know about. Yeah. It's important to recognize that and try to catch it maybe even a little bit sooner. Maybe when you start to feel like that gut feeling like, how can that be? Or how can they be living in the living room?
How can they not know that that's not okay or
just
normal?
Maybe telling yourself, well, this could be exactly what you just said. Maybe he doesn't have a high school diploma. Maybe this, that, and the other thing happened. So just kind of constantly reminding yourself, and just, I think maybe even thinking about where you're at in this model and how it's normal to kind of question those things and feel these personal reactions to our clients. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's helpful to know that, like, it's normal and I'm not just being a big jerk or anything, because, I mean, I feel like a jerk because I know, like, I don't know. So it's just helpful to know that, like, it's okay to have personal reactions about it. Yeah, as long as you're aware of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad. Did that help and answer your supervision question that you had earlier?
Yeah, I think it's just, like, more so, like, thinking about it in a different way and reminding myself that I just need to be as helpful as possible to the client, and as long as I'm mindful of, like, if they're not getting harmed, then it's okay. And just, I think this just shows the importance of, like, being in check with yourself, because if I didn't and I just ignored it and just judged them, then I could be potentially harmful to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And their relationship with their dad. I don't want to be making CPS calls that are not necessary. Yeah. So, and that might, they probably don't feel good when CPS comes to their house. So.
Yeah.
So
No, absolutely.
yeah.
I think that's really good work, and I think that you're doing a really great job. And I think next supervision, we can maybe even just brainstorm some more ideas of how to kind of surpass those feelings, or what we can do when we start feeling like that. Would that be something that would be helpful?
Yeah, definitely, because I think it's something that's going to be continuously needs worked on. Not necessarily just this, just accepting the different culture that they come from, and understanding that it is different, and that's okay, and it's okay to have your personal reactions as long as you don't let them interfere with you being as helpful as possible to the client.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good. I'm glad. Thank you for bringing that up. And
yeah, thank you for showing me that, because it just helps me normalize where I'm at right now, and it makes me feel better.
Yeah, you're welcome. So see you next week for supervision. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Stop laughing.